So, how was your night last night? You don't live in New York regularly.
No.
Where do you normally live?
I'm here regularly.
Yeah?
I was in Cleveland last night.
Oh.
Really?
And you brought your friends with you.
That many people from Cleveland? Really? Yeah. Because it was okay, I was on Lorraine. Lorraine is a big street, right? And I went, I'm in the hotel and I have a bike underneath. I'm on a tour bus, right? So I live on a bus.
It's incredible.
Well, people, when you live on a bus, people in trailers look down on you.
No, they know that you're a musical superstar.
That's right.
And that you live on a bus.
It's not a regular bus, like a city bus.
It's probably like a bus built for a king.
Yeah, here, king. Here's your bus. But I'm in Cleveland, and I said, I go down to the hotel, and I said, I want to go. I'm fixing my house, so I'm going to salvage places all the time.
Right. Okay.
You know, fix it yourself.
Like junkyards?
We like to say salvage. That sounds better.
Okay.
Yeah, junkyards. That's it. So, so I got.
They also have Home Depot. You can fix up your house there too.
You don't find good stuff. You can get a sink for 38 cents if you do it right.
Wow.
So I've got a bike. I'm under the bus. I take it out and I ask the guy at the hotel. I go, "Where's a good place in Cleveland?" He goes, "Lorraine." You go on Lorraine Avenue. You go over the bridge. Just go down Lorraine, and I did. And I said, "Is it dangerous?" "No, it's good. You'll be fine." So I go down Lorraine and I'm driving and I'm on my little bike and I'm looking around and I go, wow, in a certain area I notice that nobody's wearing shoes.
No kidding.
Yeah, and then a little while later I see most of the guys aren't wearing shoes or a shirt.
Hey!
And this is not a joke. And we go about another block and I see there's a guy standing there, no pants, no shoes, no shirt. And as I saw him, I'm going like, you know, the little alarm goes off in your head, and you go, this isn't right. You know, what's no pants? And then usually you see that after a gig or something, after a show, but not in the afternoon on Lorraine Avenue in Cleveland.
Right.
And I look, and then all of a sudden, coming around the corner is a dog, really fast, goes running by me, and then 3 guys go running by with a barbecue tong. I don't know what was going on.
Can I ask you a question, honestly? Did you take drugs?
No, never. I'm probably the only musician in America who never did take drugs.
Well, you know, that's probably your first mistake, because it sounds like that probably all could have gone away.
It gets worse.
Okay.
I'm standing there, I look at all this, and I thought, I should head back. This is not a good neighborhood. This is not going to be good for me. So I turn the bike, and I start going back. So
it was the people chasing the dog with the barbecue tongs that made you think it was a bad neighborhood?
That and the guy without pants and stuff.
Okay.
And I thought, you know, this is not feeling right.
Right.
And I started going back, and I get to a corner, and I look down, and there's this couple in a car, and the guy is smoking something, and I noticed him because he had a beautiful array of facial tattoos that kind of mirrored her facial tattoos, and they're sitting in a car.
Are you making this up?
No, I'm going to make this stuff up. So I'm sitting there at the corner. They pull up. The light changes, and as the light kind of is just changing, a cop comes around the corner and looks into this car and looks at him like it's Dillinger, you know, whatever.
Right,
I just see the look on his face.
Right.
And you know, the light changes. I think, my move, I'm going. And as I start to walk out in front, she looks in the mirror, and I see the same thing. The cop spins around behind her.
Right, sure.
She steps on it. So she knocks me off the bike, and I go rolling.
That's some nice town you people got back there.
Lorraine, right? Lorraine's the street. Beautiful street at this time of year, too. And it knocks me off the bike, and I jump up, and I wasn't going to yell anything. I don't yell at people anyway nowadays. This is America. People will shoot you anywhere.
Right.
You know, everybody's packing. I go like, I'm not going to yell at anybody. So I jump up, but I'm kind of bugged, but I jump up, and I'm grabbing my bike, and like looking at the bike, and I hear somebody yelling from inside the car, "He's a cop! He's a cop!" And I'm thinking, yeah, the guy in the guy in the cop car is a cop. And I look at the passenger, and he's looking at me and telling her, "He's a cop! He's a cop!" And
because you looked familiar to him.
I shouldn't have cut my hair this short.
Oh my gosh!
So, and I look, and he's fiddling with. He's got something in his lap, and it's a gun.
Oh, well, thank God.
You know, it all worked out good. I'm here, but. So at that point, I stopped looking or thinking. I grab the bike and I take off. I'm moving very fast. And as I'm moving down the street, I get about 50 yards and I hear pop. And at this...
Please tell me it was your hip.
I don't know. My head is... When I hear pop, my head goes down and I'm thinking, they're going to shoot me in the ass. I'm going to get shot. I'm going to get shot in the ass. Which has always been a fear of mine. Yeah. I'm like going like crazy on this bike, and a guy who's not on a bike passes me, running, and he's running, and as he runs by, it's like, this is all like in slow motion though, and he says, "Bullets don't have no eyes." And I thought, that's good advice.
That is an incredible statement that I think we should all use from now on.
I'm making it into a T-shirt.
Yes.
Bullets don't have no eyes.
Bullets don't have no eyes. It's like snakes on a plane. It just comes off your tongue.
Spin off here.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. Bullets don't have no eyes. That's a song.
He said that, and I just went, boom, and the bike's electric too. I can actually get a little more juice electrically, but it did nothing because I was pedaling so fast.
It's an electric bike that you pedal?
Yeah, you can do both.
Like a moped?
I was passing
Maseratis. You can say moped. Right.
I got to the hotel. I went up to my room. I shut the door, and like the next day, everybody goes, "What'd you do the next day?" I said, "Room service."
Right, sure.
Lorraine in Cleveland. Beautiful street this time of year.
It's very funny, too, because you probably were, in your mind, if you're like me, I always have soundtracks playing in my mind. And I think at that moment, I would have been hearing one of your songs as I was pedaling away, you know. With the guitar.
I looked back just enough to see that they had 2 cop cars were in front of the car that had, like, the guy was yelling at me.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously, they didn't get there in 12 seconds or a second.
Right.
Cops were following this car.
They were staking them out, and you were caught in the crossfire.
The cops were out with guns. By the time I was 50 yards away, the cops were out with guns. So I'm just wondering, like, if they have TV in prison, I just want to let those people know I'm not a cop. I guess they thought I was like trying to stop them.
Here's what I think. I think that you looked familiar to that guy. And so, instead of going, "Hey, aren't you, wait a minute, isn't that Chris Isaak?" He assumed you were a cop because they're running from the law, and you looked familiar, and he probably spends a lot of his time around cops. Huh?
No, I think he spends a lot of his time in the tattoo parlor, from what I could tell.
Or maybe he thought you were a tattoo artist that he had known once.
Believe me, I know my audience. This guy wasn't he wouldn't, I don't think he would be at my show. I don't know. It's he's a cop. Hey, Chris.
It's just the most incredible story I've ever heard. I'm not even sure if I believe you.
When we're on break, I'll take the shirt. I'll show my collarbone is black.
No, really?
Yeah.
From falling?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! You don't want to show us now? Because that would be totally hot if you took off your jacket. Please?
No, I can't.
Come on.
I can't do that. Maybe later.
Did the bullet graze? The bullet didn't graze you anywhere, did it? Any grazing?
I don't think they were shooting at me, and I'm not sure it was them shooting.
As we all know, bullets don't have no eyes.
True. Soon to be a major motion picture.
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine? Like, Gilman, what would that phone call have been like? Kelly, look, remember how we told you we had gotten Chris Isaak to be your co-host? Well, he was shot yesterday off of his bicycle in Cleveland.
Things happen to me. I'm always like, I'm never drunk. I'm never high. I'm always together. And then weird stuff happens to me. I was in San Francisco, and I had to run in with the cops. The same kind of. I'm driving down the road through Golden Gate Park. You know Golden Gate Park, right?
Sure.
And there's a car in front of me, and a truck in front of that car. And the car is like kind of trying to get past this truck, and the truck won't let him pass and is going way out in the street, and finally drives up on the sidewalk where people are walking.
Sure, why not?
So the car pulls over, a guy gets out of the car, and a guy gets out in a nice suit, and he's about like 60 years old or something, and he looks like just a nice businessman, and he starts walking towards the car, and the guy jumps out of the truck, and it's a great, big, rough-looking guy. He gets out, and he starts walking, and I thought, this guy's going to beat up this guy. It looks like my dad getting out of the car, like going, you're driving badly, and he's going to just get nailed. And I'm in my I got my Chevy Nova back there, and I'm thinking, this guy's big. He's going to beat this guy in the suit up. And I stop my car, and I go,
I got to see how this pans out.
I'm going to get out. I'm going to help this old guy because I think he's going to get beat up. So I get out. I'm walking up behind, and about that point, I see the guy in the suit pull out a gun like this, which is, I mean, the gun was about this big.
Thank God you're not exaggerating that.
When somebody pulls a gun out, it's like, somebody pulls a gun out, you freak because bullets don't have eyes.
That's right.
And he pulls it out, and he pulls a badge out.
Aha.
And he says, like, lay down. Now I'm about 5 feet behind this guy, and he doesn't know I'm there. And I'm not that tough, so I'm holding a club.
Right.
You know, the club, the locking club? Because I thought if it's gonna get into it with this big guy, I'm going to have the club. Now
you're an accomplice to the big guy, aren't you?
I was going to help this policeman, and I'm standing there, and I said, "Sir," in a higher voice, "Sir, do you need any help?" And
right.
he was so together, man. It was like, this is what you want to be like in these kind of things.
Right.
He goes, "Yeah, go back to the Park Police Center and tell them I need help over here." And I went, okay, and I ran back to my Chevy, and I thought, I'm on official police business.
It's incredible.
I was on official police business.
It's shocking to me that you keep turning up. I mean, have you ever thought about going into law enforcement?
The park, and I thought about it later, and I thought probably the most dangerous thing they did was when I got in the car and I was on official police business. Well, I was. I mean, he told me to go to the police thing, so it was official. And I'm driving through the park. I must have been hitting, in a 64 Chevy Nova, I was going about 115 through the park.
Wow.
And I get to the police thing, and I run in, and you watch police on TV and stuff, and you think that you're like going to be together when something like this happens to you, and then you realize
just hysterical.
What a weasel I am.
Right.
I run into this place, and I run in and I go, I can't, there's a guy in the park with a gun, get a gun. And the woman, there was a woman police officer, she's looking at me, and when I walked in, she's sitting down and she goes, and she starts reaching under and pulling out guns and putting them on. She goes, what kind of car was he? And how many people were there? And she says, and she's all calm. And
it's incredible.
And as she walks out, she goes, I like your last record.
Wow.